Have you ever had someone ask you, what do you really want in your life or business, and you don't know the answer? And you sit there and you realize, oh crap, I don't actually know what I want. I don't know how to know what I want. That's what we're going to talk about today, clarity as the starting point of manifestation. And I'm going to give you some tips on how to know what you want. And yep, I'm going there, the M word, manifestation. Can't wait to talk to you about this. If this is your first time here, I'm Dr. Amanda Barrientes, the host of the Max Potential Habits podcast, the founder of NFA Coaching, and this is your place to come for tips, tools, inspirational interviews to help you optimize your habits so you can thrive in your life and your business. Let's get to it. I'm really excited for today's show because I usually do video with my shows. I'm only doing audio, so it's a totally different setup for me. It means I get to go longer, woohoo, which I like. And I want to go really deep into this topic of clarity as the starting point of manifestation. And first, I want to give you a little bit of a background reflection about manifestation and what that means to me, and how I know it's a woo-woo word that a lot of people are hesitant to use. I've been hesitant to use it. I come from a social sciences background, and my PhD is in sociology, and for a long time I was stuck in this place of thinking that because of the macro systems of the word in sociology that we use as oppression, that I was not going to be able to get where I wanted to go in life. I really had this victim mindset around thinking that I wasn't in charge of my reality. I wasn't in control of my reality. And when I stepped into coaching world and really started to shift my belief system and start to take actions in a new direction, everything in my life really changed. I was on food stamps and my relationships were falling apart, and I felt really, really stuck. And as I started doing coaching, I had people come to me, my students started coming to me and being like, I love the way you teach, and I really want to learn life skills. And I started teaching from a perspective of giving people strategies and actions instead of only teaching theory. And, in academic world, there's some leverage to do that, but not a lot. So I started to look into coaching instead of going the professor route. And that is a huge part of the reason I decided to do coaching instead of becoming a professor. There's a lot of stress in the academic world and limited income potential, and I would have had to move. I've been in Boulder for 23 years now. I didn't want to go anywhere. My kids are settled here. My family's here. My ex-husband, who's my best friend, is here. And my life is here. And so I thought, what am I going to do with my love of teaching? I want to coach. And you all know I love podcasting, so that was something I wanted to add to the plate because I get to share what I'm experiencing, what I'm learning, what I'm researching, what I'm practicing on myself. And then I get to bring it to my clients, and I get to bring it to you, and I get to have a really expansive platform, very differently than teaching. And the mindset's completely different, right? So in sociology, no one would ever use the word manifestation. It would be very frowned upon and judged. So it's taken me a while to allow myself to really use that word in coaching. I've framed it in a lot of different ways. The way I think about manifestation is that we have a magic wand to create whatever we want. And what it takes first is clarity. So 3 steps to manifesting are that you have to, define what you want, which means clarity, right? We've got to have clarity about what we want. Number 2, you've got to physically move in the direction of what you want. I don't believe in manifestation where you just sit on the couch and you sit and meditate and just daydream about what you want and you don't take any action. That doesn't work. So I'm going to give you a funny example. That would be like you get in your car and you're in the garage, you sit in your car, and let's say first even you're clear about where you want to go. So you put in the location on the GPS, on your Google Maps, you stick it in there, or Waze, whatever one you use, and you just sit there and you hope that your car will just magically get there. Doesn't work, right? We all know that wouldn't work. So you got to put in the location and start driving in the direction. Now on the drive, you're probably, you could take some wrong turns, let's say. let's say there's a roadblock, or let's say you take a different turn for some reason, your map will reroute you. It gets you where you want to go because you have the destination clear. You don't know how, you don't have to know all the hows to get there, but you know exactly where you're going, and the map does the job for you. It directs you in the direction of where you want to go because you had the starting point and you had the ending point. You were clearly defining it. So it's the same thing in manifestation, right? You got to start taking action. So 1, define where you want to go. 2, physically move in that direction. And then 3, trust the universe to take care of the hows. So it's trusting the Google Maps to take you where you want to go, right? Because you put it in, you trust that the GPS is going to take you to where you want to go. Okay. And you're not planning out the whole route because you don't need to. So this is a big discussion in law of attraction and manifestation world where people talk about, do you need to know every detail? And when I work with my clients, I talk to them a lot about getting ultimate clarity, like every detail, focus on it, think about it, daydream about it, see it, all of those things. And yes, that's helpful because it helps you exercise your visualization skills, and it helps you focus on what you want, and what you focus on expands. So it helps you catalyze the process of manifesting what you want. Yet, I don't think it's essential for you to know all the details, because if you have the idea of where you want to go clearly in your mind, let's say, okay, I want to, for me this year, one of my big goals, and it's somewhat scary for me to say this out loud because I don't know how I'm going to get there exactly, but my goal is to have a $360,000 income this year. I'm going to say gross income, and I don't know how I'm going to get there exactly. I have ideas, I have some roadmaps, and I always, of course, write goals down, but I write my goals down very loosely because I trust that there's going to be some twists and turns along the journey, and I know my destination, but I'm going to trust that the universe is going to take care of the hows. And the reason I say this, for example, in my business last year, it was my first full year in business, and all year I was like, I want to break $100,000. That is my goal in my first full year of business, to break $100,000. At the beginning of the year, I had a couple months that were really big and put me in the place where I was like, okay, this is going to happen. It was, $8,333 a month is what you need to break $100,000 in a year. And I had a few months at the beginning, and I was like, awesome, I'm on track. So I started saying to people, I've gone from food stamps to a six-figure income, which was true. But then I had months that were not that high, and I had a whole bunch of twists and turns. It's my first year of business. I don't totally know what I was doing, and I was experimenting and practicing, and lead generation is one of the hardest parts of a startup business. And so I was like, oh no, have I been lying to people? Have I been lying to myself? Have I been lying to people, telling them that I'm going to break 6 figures? And, I was scared. Even like stepping into fourth quarter, I didn't know if it was going to happen. And then I ran through Instagram, I had a company reach out to me to do mindset coaching with a whole bunch of their associates in their community. And I brought in a whole bunch of new people, and I created a new coaching program called the Business Accelerator Program, and it's a 12-week program, and it happened, right? But this is the thing that's been so fascinating to me, is that I could have never planned that. I could not have written that down as a goal at the beginning of the year. Like, oh, I'm going to randomly have someone on Instagram contact me, and we're going to hit it off, and we're going to collaborate and work really well together. He's going to be on my podcast and like me. And then I'm going to, start to work with people in their community. I couldn't have planned that. There's no way I could have planned that, which is really cool because I knew that my vision was to break 100,000. I didn't know how it was going to happen, but I was taking consistent, strategic daily action. And when I say strategic, I was like, okay, I know I got to keep putting content out there. I know I've got to keep contacting people. I know I've got to keep learning everything I can about being an incredible mindset and habits and vision coach. And that, for me, was what led me in the direction of making those contacts. And the universe brought that to me because I was clear about where I wanted to go, and I didn't force the details, right? I was open to what was possible. So this year, when I go, okay, I want to have a $360,000 year, I don't know what's going to happen exactly. I have got a whole bunch of great ideas. I'm taking action on them every day, but something big might pop that I could never foresee. I imagine that I'm going to, I want to do some speaking. I've been invited to do speaking. I want to have a book in mind. I'm going to create a whole bunch of online courses for all of you because I'm super into teaching manifestation, mindset, habits, money, limiting beliefs, overcoming self-doubts, how to help you on your way to creating a six-figure plus business. Like I've got ideas, and I'm putting them into action. And I trust that something is going to pop to have me reach my $360,000 goal. My big goal for my first 3 years in business is to hit the $1 million mark. And, in that way, I see all kinds of coaches doing it. I know it's possible 100%. I now believe that it's possible for me, which is awesome because I didn't used to ever think that that was possible. And so the reason I'm saying all this to you is because the first point is clarity, right? So I said in the manifestation process, you have to define what you want. And I opened the podcast by talking about how do you know what you want? What if you don't know what you want? What do you do if you don't know what you want? And why don't we know what we want? So I love this example. Maybe I've said this before in podcasts, I don't know, but I've told my clients this, and I like to think about one of the blocks that people have to manifesting and clarity is that they limit what they want by what they think is possible. And that's usually based on what's been possible for you in the past. What you've experienced in the past determines what you think you're allowed to create in the future. And this just isn't true, but it's a limiting belief and it's a fear that keeps us held back from getting clarity about what we want in the future because we go, well, crap, if I dream too big and it doesn't happen, then I failed. Or if I only limit myself to a smaller vision of what I want, I'll feel more successful when I get it because I know it's achievable. So we don't stretch ourselves enough beyond what we think is possible. And I like to use this example of, say you step into, I call it a universal gourmet kitchen. So you go to this restaurant called the Universal Gourmet Kitchen. You sit down at the table and the server comes over and goes, what do you want? And there's no menu because it's the Universal Gourmet Kitchen and you can have whatever you want. But you're like, well, I didn't think about it before. I don't really know what I want. You ask the server, well, what's good? And you don't know. So they say, well, we can bring you whatever you want. And you go, well, I don't know. So they bring you some dish and they set it down before you and you go, well, what the fuck? I didn't want this. I don't even like steak, let's say. And the server says, well, you didn't tell me what you want. So I brought you something to try. And I love this example because you could have asked for anything that you wanted, but you didn't know what to ask for. So you let the universe bring to you what it thought to help you gain clarity about what you do want. So what happens when we're unclear is that the universe will bring us a whole bunch of stuff to help us figure out and gain clarity. So that's what happens in the Universal Gourmet Kitchen. Instead of you sitting down and going, I want exactly this kind of sushi with this kind of drink, with this kind of dessert, and like knowing exactly what you want. Of course, I would choose sushi because I love sushi. So, know what you want. And I want you to start practicing thinking and desiring and growing in an expansive way, playfully having fun with expanding your desires and what you want. And that's really a place to start. So when I say how to know what you want, you've got to start to allow yourself to be more playful with your desires. Desire is the initiator of creation because it gives you clarity about where you want to go, right? So we think about when you're pulling together, like what I'm talking about right now, when I'm going, okay, you got to get clear. Start with desire. What do you desire? And if it's hard for you to think like, I don't know what I desire, start to look at what you don't want. because most of us know what we don't want and then take the exact opposite. So let's say you're working a full-time job and what you really and you're like, I don't want to work this job anymore. I don't want to work for an asshole boss. I don't want to go to a 9 to 5. Well, that is showing you what you do want by taking the opposite. So you go, okay, I don't want to work a 9 to 5. I don't want to work for someone else. Maybe your boss is nice, so you just don't want to work for someone else and you don't want to be restricted by the 9 to 5. Then go, okay, I don't want to work a 9 to 5. Well, what do you want on the other side? You want freedom in your job. That's one thing to write down and go, okay, I know I want freedom in my job. And start asking yourself, how do I allow myself to see what I want? Just start thinking in those expansive ways to start creating a roadmap of what you want. Because a lot of us are so stuck in this way. We don't think it's possible. We have fear. We have limiting beliefs. We're not sure what our values are. So we go like, well, I don't know what I want because I'm so used to living my life for other people. I haven't really allowed myself to expand. This happens all the time. It's something that a lot of us struggle and suffer with when we've lived our lives for other people. We go like, I don't really know myself. I don't really know what I want. So I want you to start playfully practicing clarity around this. Okay, so something I want you to do is I want you to write down your perfect day past tense, like it's already happened. And this will help you in many ways because it's going to be a playful exercise where you're going to daydream a little bit and then you're going to do it as if it already happened, because your brain doesn't know the difference between things that have and haven't happened when you start to visualize them. There's really cool research actually. I think I read this in a Joe Dispenza book a while back. It was research on people who were visualizing doing curls with their biceps to strengthen their biceps. So there were people who visualized doing them and people who actually did them. And the people who visualized gained, I think in the study, they had actually gained equal to or more muscle mass than the people who were actually doing the exercises. Holy crap, that blows my mind. And it's so powerful to think about how visualization can really empower your life and get you where you want to go. But you see again, that takes clarity. You have clarity about visualizing the bicep curls. Okay, so the reason that is easy to do is because we know what a bicep curl looks like. We're like, oh, cool, I can visualize that. And then you take the time to do it, and then it happens. Similarly, when we want to go on a vacation, it's very easy to manifest because it's such a clear, discrete activity, right? Event. So we go, oh, we know where we are. We know our starting destination. We know where we want to land. We start to look into the hotels. We look at the flights. We look at what we want to do on the trip. Then we add up all the amounts of money that we need to go on the trip and have the good time we want to have. And then we make it happen. It's same thing. You just need to dream a little bigger about your entire life. So I want you to start playfully getting clear by writing out your perfect day. And I want you to pretend, in order to let your mind free a little bit, if you are someone who's stuck in not knowing exactly what you want, I want you to release some of your limiting beliefs about what's possible by pretending that you are in your favorite forest all by yourself. And there's just this expansive feeling. So it's or maybe let's just even say your favorite place. I love forests, so I always say forest, but let's say it's your favorite place, somewhere in nature though. So forest, ocean, mountains, somewhere along those lines where you can be all alone in your favorite spot, and you start visualize that you have a magic wand and that you're in the present moment and nothing from the past matters and you're not connected to anyone. You know, if you have a family or partners, that's fine. But just for now, let all that go, because we often inject other people's values into our desires and our vision of what we want to create in our life. And I call this shoulding ourselves. We often should ourselves based on what other people have told us we should want or should do or should be. And this can even be you making up a story about what you think you should be doing or where you should be at this current point in your life. Like you go, oh, let's say you're 40 and you're like, oh, I should be so much farther along. Or let's say you're 25 and you're like, I should be a millionaire by now. Or you're 50 and you go, I should be, in this shape, but I'm not. I want you to let go of all of that. Or I want you to let go of your parents shitting you. I want you to let go of your partners shitting you, your colleagues, even, whatever industry you're in, other people that you're comparing yourself to in your industry. Let it all go. Pretend you're all by yourself. You have a magic wand and you can create whatever you want. And just get playful and start writing stuff down. Go like, what would you wear every day if you could wear anything you wanted? What money would you spend every day? How much money would be coming in every day? What kind of tea would you drink in the morning, or coffee? Or what would your house be like? What would it smell like? What would it feel like? What would you fill your house with? What kind of job would you have? What kind of business would you create? Would you have sex multiple times a day? Would you not? Get clear about every little part and just start to daydream. And this helps you start to clarify some of your desires. Okay. So I want you to write it out as if it already happened. Like today was so awesome. This morning I got up and I went to the coffee shop and I did this. And then I met with these people for a business meeting. And then I recorded a podcast. And then I checked my bank account and it had, let's say it's $83,333.33 a month if you want to have $1 million a year income. So let's say you looked at your bank account and that amount was there. Or let's say you want to have a $360,000 income, you're making $986 a day. And I get clear on those numbers because I like to visualize those when I'm doing my perfect day. So I want you to just start daydreaming and playing and get clear. Start to think about what you love to do, what makes you inspired, what makes you feel fulfilled, what makes you feel connected to yourself, what leaves you smiling and feeling joy, what gets you up in the morning excited, what does no one have to tell you to do and you still do it because you love it. I want you to start thinking about creating a life and a business of your freaking dreams, because why not? You get to create your reality. You get to manifest your reality through clarity and through starting to move in the direction of what you want to create. So again, in the manifestation process, defining what you want takes clarity, and it's the starting point of getting where you want to go. And I've given you so many different, metaphors, stories, analogies to help you start to move in that direction. So your action step for today is to write down your perfect day, past tense. Really let yourself go by visualizing first you alone in your favorite spot, and you're detached from everything and everyone, your past, your limiting beliefs, the limiting stories, what other people have told you should be or do or have. I want you to just let loose, have fun with this, and start being playful and allow yourself to daydream about what would be an incredible, awesome, perfect day. One perfect day after another leads to a perfect life. And I use the word perfect. I could say ideal. I think the word perfect has some charge around it for people. I don't think seeking perfection ever works, because we get stuck with this one-sided fantasy. So when I say perfect, it's not like you're never going to have challenges or anything like that. This is just a fun, playful exercise to imagine your ideal day. And that would feel perfect, right? I'm not someone who believes that we live a perfect life where it's all happy bliss utopia. I don't. Yeah. I had a really interesting conversation with someone recently about enlightenment and my sense of enlightenment. And I don't believe that I'm not striving for an enlightened life. I'm striving to live an incredible, inspired life through building my business, helping people, serving the world by helping people raise their consciousness, love themselves, love what they do, love other people, get to be so fully connected to themselves. And it all starts with what I'm talking about here. Like, what would it look like for you to have your ideal day, to love your life, to wake up in the morning with the person you love, if that's what you want, to wake up alone in your house and drink tea on the deck, if that's what you want. Whatever it is for you, it's all different. And of course, this is called the Max Potential Habits podcast. All of what I'm teaching you is a habit, right? You are developing the habit of focusing your mind on what you want to create. Again, your mindset is a habit. So shape it and train it in the direction of your dreams. If you want something to change, it all starts with where I'm talking about, that clarity piece of going, what do I actually want? What do I actually want to create? And then taking action in that direction, and then trusting that the universe is going to fulfill that for you. All right. I could say so much more, but I'm going to stop there. Write your perfect day. I'd love to hear some elements of it, or hear how this is landing for you, impacting you. DM me on Insta. I'm on there quite a bit. At NFA Coaching is my handle. I'd love for you to share this with people if it's helping you. I'm going to start doing some more solo casts that are longer like this. Of course, I'll keep bringing you interviews and the shorter video, and that I use, that I also do a podcast from, that's 10 minutes or less. But I want to start doing some more solo casts because I love having these conversations, and I'm having this conversation with you because it's such a theme among the people that I work with. And it keeps coming up in my world when people are asking about, like, well, tell me more about, and not everyone uses manifestation. They might say, tell me more about how to achieve my dreams. Tell me more about how to get clear on what I want. I want to know how to live a more inspired and fulfilling life. And that's what I'm bringing you here with Max Potential Habits podcast. Like, this is my vision that I'm fulfilling. I get to reach the world by teaching the things that I'm inspired by, and I get to attract to me all of the people that are inspired by what I'm teaching. And yes, like jumping high fives, that makes me so joyful every single day. So that's all I got for you today. I hope you have an incredible, lovely, wonderful, perfect day, and I'll be back again soon. Thanks so much for listening to this episode of the Max Potential Habits podcast. If you're liking what you've heard, it would be so incredibly awesome if you would subscribe to the channel and leave a 5-star rating and a written review. This helps me help more people while we grow our NFA community so we can rock it out together. For Max Potential Habits resources, go to nfacoaching.com, where you can access all of my resources. There's free ebooks, PDF checklists, a journal template, a business mindset meditation kit, and so much more. Plus, links to NFA Coaching on Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook. And if you're super serious about up-leveling, there's also a link to schedule a free consult to work with me in group or one-on-one coaching. Until next time, I hope you have a Max Potential Habits Day where you get inspired to do whatever it takes to transform into the most empowered version of yourself so you can lead a rich, thriving, kick-ass life and business.